axe.
It falls like when I move it down.
Oh, sorry.
Helps if I look.
Ow. I'm so glad I recorded all of that.
Thanks for the blooper reel.
Hear this word, you cows of Bashan, who are on the mountain of Samaria, who oppress the poor, who crush the needy, who say to your husbands, bring wine, let us drink. Amos 4, verse 1.
Did you guys know that John the Baptist and Winnie the Pooh have the same middle name?
Duh.
Yeah. It's a fun fact.
It's good.
So does Kermit the Frog.
Oh, whoa. Now we're getting into some deep stuff.
That's a deep cut.
Yep. And with that, welcome back to We Who Endure.
Vlad the Impaler.
Vlad the
Jack the Ripper.
Now we're just getting dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll talk about deep cuts.
But with a much less serious episode today, we're just going to be discussing some fun,
Interesting
interesting
things.
things in and about
Conspiracies,
the Bible and conspiracy, stuff like that, yes. I'm Blade O'Neill, and joining me as always is Lance O'Neill
Hi.
and Dustin C. Smith.
Hi.
So what's a seasmith?
What's
Is it
C
somebody
Smith?
that works at the sea?
No, it's
when
a,
they're
it's
smithing?
it's a letter C.
You should just
like
change
C
it.
is for cookie? Like Cookie Smith?
Kinda.
You could change it to the, so you can be Dustin the Smith.
Oh, then you're like Winnie the Pooh.
I could.
Yeah, like kind of like John the Baptist.
I
I mean,
mean-
you got the beard, so
Yeah. But I got the head attached. So.
We're getting ahead of ourselves now.
Ooh.
I know. It's terrible. I'm going to kick us off with one. Perhaps a little less interesting, and I've said it 2 or 3, maybe 4 times on this podcast already. But it's just one of my favorite little things because I think it's a reminder of faith. And I don't know if it's inherently true, but once again, like a lot of biblical scholars believe it. But David picked up 5 stones when he went to go kill Goliath. And, and oftentimes people are like, he didn't have the faith, he should have just needed 1 stone, but he did have the faith because David had 4 brothers.
Goliath.
Oh, Goliath. Yes. What did I say? Oh, I
You said
David.
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 Goliath
You're just
had-
going to kill his
Goliath
brothers while
had-
he's at it.
Oh,
too.
that-
Goliath had 4
that,
brothers.
that comment section's going, it's not David, man. It's not David.
Goliath had 4 brothers. So he had the confidence of just God had him 1 stone each. Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
Yeah, he should have thought he could have kept in America the stone back off his head and then used the stone again.
Oh, so he had no faith.
Yes. Then it would have been, 1 stone, 2 Goliaths instead of one stone,
yeah.
2 birds, right?
yeah.
2 birds, 1 stone.
Yeah.
Mm.
Look,
I know, that was
look,
two
to the
giants.
birds.
2 giants, 1 stone.
All right, who's next? Who wants to go next?
I guess I can go.
Sure.
Mine's I guess mine kind of has layers to it though.
Okay.
So it's like a fact and then conspiracy, I guess.
Okay.
So there's 2 people in the Bible that never died,
Yes.
right?
Uh-huh.
That's Enoch
Mhm.
and Elijah.
Yep.
Right? So, because of that, since they never died, when people talk about who's the oldest people in the Bible, everyone always says Methuselah. Technically, they're both older. They're both thousands of years old because they never died. Right? Because God took them. So you could argue that they never died.
But are they still living on Earth?
Does that count as living? If they're living somewhere else, then like if someone went to Mars and they were 120 years old, they're still like the oldest person, right? Living.
So because their physical bodies went up, so they're still living in their physical bodies, or
That's
they
what I'm saying,
transform into.
No, because then if they to me that would be they're dead. right?
That doesn't seem fair. You keep your old body.
But you say that's not fair. But, right? But.
What, you don't want the new one?
No. It says, right? It says in Hebrews, as it is appointed for men to die once, but after this, the judgment, right? So everyone's supposed to die once, okay? And in Malachi, when he's talking about the end times, right? He says, "Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord." Now that was 200 years after Elijah left. I don't want to say he died because he didn't die. So one little conspiracy theory or view, I guess you can say, whatever you want to call it, is when they talk about in Revelations the two witnesses who come back and then are doing miracles. I think the two witnesses is Enoch and Elijah. I know people talk about the churches.
Well, I've seen what in the Left Behind series. I think they are the two witnesses. I think
They are.
I think Jenkins and LaHaye or whoever wrote the books. They, if I remember, I could be wrong, but I remember them saying like the two prophets that came back like were them or something like that, or maybe they have the same names. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just totally being.
But it's an interesting theory. It's interesting to think about because obviously we don't know the truth, right? But it's sort of.
Well, then you know, after they're the two witnesses and they come and they do the miracles and they're shooting fire and they are doing very similar things to both what Elijah, and some stuff that I think Moses did, but then they are killed after like 3.5 years and their bodies lay there to be seen for 3 days and then they rise again. Now I know some people believe it's like the churches, and I'm like, the only problem I have with it is like trying to. Obviously Revelations is deep and there's a lot to it, but it's trying to understand, well, then how do they die and how does like the body of the church like somehow come back together when they says like they will not be buried. They will leave them to like mock their bodies for 3 days and then they're going to come back. Right. So, but that would be their first death technically.
Mm-hmm. Well,
and then they would be 3,000, 4,000, however years old. And that is older than Methuselah by a lot.
Can you imagine just chilling up there in your body?
That'd be awesome. Like, you know, like, oh, okay. I mean, like, you know, I'm sure he's like, look at all this cool stuff in heaven. I don't know, right? But you're just like, man, Enoch, I can't wait to go do this end time stuff with you.
Like the getting killed part.
But think about it too, like two people who were so after God's heart that God didn't let them experience death, that he's going to also use those people in the end of days when it's the worst on earth. He's like, these two men, man, they're going to be the ones that are going to go out and do that for me. You know what I mean?
You know, and to your point with it being the church or not, if you look at, you know, the prophecy of the coming of Jesus, right? They talked about, Jesus said, you destroy the temple and rebuild it in 3 days, right? That was both metaphorical, but also there was sort of a literal element with the what? Oh, okay. With the earthquake that broke the church and stuff. So there was still a literal part
right
to that too. And I think we bring that up a lot, is that
it's a literal and
it's both literal and figurative all at the same time. And that's one of the coolest parts. What you got?
All right. So going through the Bible and just kind of looking through, there's always like little things and there are different stories, different things like rules, laws. And one of the kind of the big books of like for the like law in like the early days was in Deuteronomy. And a lot of people kind of skip over that because, we talk about Jesus, we talk about David, we talk about Moses and everything else. And then you look at some of the stuff and you begin to kind of read it, and then some of it just looks absurd. But then you have to look at it and be like, this had to have happened in order for them to write this down and establish it in the first place.
Kind of like those weird signs. You're like what happened here that necessitated this sign to be posted,
right? But all obviously has to do like with law and things like that. So one of them is Deuteronomy 25, 11 through 12, which is if two men fight together and the wife of one draws near to rescue her husband from the hand of the one attacking him and puts out her hand and seizes him by his genitals, then you shall cut off her hand, your eye shall not pity her. So you have two gentlemen fighting, and the wife goes to protect. Obviously, the one might be losing, and she reaches out, grabs him by his manhood, or whatever you may call it, and basically it's saying, like, to the extreme of you should cut off her hand. So, like, show her no pity, like, see her with no pity. And when I first read that, I'm like, whoa, that's pretty powerful stuff. Like, if someone's reaching out and doing that, then, like, that's what you do. Like, obviously you don't put her to death, but you cut off her hand so she can't do it anymore. And I was kind of doing research about this verse, which is kind of interesting in itself. But one of the things they're kind of talking about is generally, like, when two men are having an argument, it could be, familiar thing with the family and things like that. And by her reaching out, it's more like they're describing it as like crushing. So not just like, like hitting someone or grabbing. It's actually like grabbing and crushing, which, as any person of the male persuasion knows, it's not too pleasant. And the idea behind it is, that's obviously it deals with the man's lineage and his ability to create and further his line, and by her doing that jeopardizes that. And so that's why that kind of like harshness was there. And then the reason why they're saying with her doing that is at the time, women didn't have a lot to protect themselves, and like that's obviously the most vulnerable spot of a man. And so kind of the reaction is to reach out and grab theirs, like that was your way of defending yourself from like attack and things like that. So
and to your point, and so obviously like it had to have happened.
Right.
Oh, I'm sure. Yes.
Yeah.
Or somebody came up with that on the spot.
Yeah.
Right. Hey, what if this happens? We should write about that, because I don't want it to happen to me. So I'm just going to put this in.
Like I'm terrified.
Yeah, I had a dream about this happening. So can we put this in there? Yeah, we'll put that in. Put that in 25 right after. Might as well. Let's just keep going. Let's just
All right.
It's-
Well, let me see what I got here. So did you know
Yes.
that Shrek
Shrek.
stole from the Bible?
Shrek?
Shrek.
The green.
The green ogre, Shrek, stole from the Bible.
Donkey.
That's exactly what they stole.
They stole the donkey.
They stole a talking donkey from the Bible.
Oh, interesting.
So,
By the way, Shrek 2 is awesome.
I think I've only seen the first three. I didn't realize there was a fourth one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
2.
okay.
Shrek
Just-
2
Shrek
is
2
I don't remember which one. Which one
peak
is that?
cinema. Come on, we quote it all the time. We played the video.
What's the?
When
Is that the?
It's the marriage one, right? Like where it meets the parents, or is that the third?
yeah, we meet the parents. They turn into humans. There's the giant gingerbread man. The bad guy is the
Oh.
fairy godmother.
Oh, and then you have the Prince Charming that's kind of following around.
The Prince Charming.
Or is that the third one? See, yeah, I don't remember. It's been so long.
Because Prince Charming was the first one. I don't
Oh, no, that was
know where-
that was Lord Farquaad.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Prince Charming was the son.
Because he
of-
went to the tower to save her, and there was nobody there.
Yeah. And the Prince Charming guy or whatever he was the son of the fairy godmother.
Right.
But it's brilliant. And the soundtracks, it's good. I need a hero.
How you doing over there?
So this is a story about Balaam and the angel and him riding riding the donkey, right?
Okay.
So Numbers 22,
Okay.
verse 28. I'll do. Then the Lord opened the mouth of the donkey, and she said to Balaam, "What have I done to you that you have struck me these 3 times?" All right, so God had the donkey talk because the dude was like, "Hey, like you're not listening to me," and to the point where God was just like, "All right, I'm gonna have this donkey talk to you, just like get to the bottom of this. It's just kind of crazy when you think about it.
He's,
Right?
like, he's riding on a donkey, and
Yeah,
Donkey
donkey's
just turns
just
around and goes like, "Dude, stop hitting me, bro."
But it's so if you go back a little bit though, so to give some context, then the angel of the Lord stood in a narrow path between the vineyards with a wall on the side and a wall on that side. And the donkey saw the angel of the Lord, so she pushed herself against the wall and crushed Balaam's foot against the wall. So he struck her. Right? So like the donkey sees the angel and the guy riding this doesn't. So the donkey's like, whoa, and then ends up crushing his foot. He's like, what are you doing? And then the God just decides to talk to the dude through the donkey. It's like, that's just, I don't know, it's just such a funny thing that I feel like I don't remember. Like I was going back and going through, I was like, how do I not remember
I'm
this?
not sure I've read that, honestly. I was like, hey,
Or I just glossed right over and
Yeah,
didn't think
just
anything of
didn't
it.
think about it or
stop hitting me. Do you see this angel? Like, dude, come on.
like, bro, come on.
There's a jackass joke in there, somehow. But, yeah. See what I did there? Very funny.
Very funny.
I feel like everything I have is not funny.
It's not funny.
And I don't want to bring it down.
No, it's okay.
Don't worry, I'll bring it back up.
Yeah, we need the opposite of comic relief. We need
Yeah. We need a roller coaster
Oh.
of emotions.
Okay, so here I'm gonna. Yeah. So my other thing is just really that like the Bible is the living word, and what that means. So the reason why I'm bringing it up is because I was talking to a friend who was curious about Jesus, and so just explaining like why we read the Bible and stuff, and just seeing him understand, having that moment of clicking like what it means to be living word, because we saw, at the beginning of John, like in the beginning, like there was the word, and so like God is the living word, but the Bible is the living word, so it is God, and by it being the living word, like you might read a verse and it applied one way 2,000 years ago, and it's still so prevalent, and it's gonna speak to you and something you're going through in ways that is going to be different for me, yet it's always true at the same time, and it's never contradicting itself, even though we have all of these different applications and ways of being taught, and like literally like just by reading it, God is going to be speaking to us, so just the beginning of understanding because like people just say, it's the living word, but like, are you really like understanding what that means? And I think that's really fun. And if you ever get to talk to someone about Jesus and just to see that click, it's really neat.
Yeah, there's a lot of things I think that we do and use, or things that we say that we don't realize. Like that exactly, like that's what that means. Like it's the living word. Like it's deeper than just like a phrase that we say because it's like, oh, it sounds good. Like it's like, no, there's a lot deeper than that.
Well, then a lot of time these verses or things like that, you might read it one time and it means one thing, and then later, later on it actually resonates in a way that you didn't think of before because it didn't apply to you at that moment. So,
Or you just don't understand it, because I had this I think it was a proverb. I think it was a whole proverb, and I just felt like the need to share it with someone.
Yeah.
And I think I've told the story before, and I didn't share it because I read it and I didn't get it, and I was like, that doesn't seem correct.
because it didn't apply to you. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that was a me problem, and I wasn't realizing it,
Mm.
because my flesh was like, I don't think he should hear that. I told him later, but I understood it better later, and I did get it. So sometimes like just listen, just obey. You don't always have to get it.
Yeah, there's
You don't
plenty of
have to get
times
it.
in my life where it's like, I don't know why I'm supposed to say this to this person, but I'm
And
going
it
to
even
do
might
it.
sounds wrong.
And it doesn't make any sense to me, but then for them, they're like, you have no idea like what you just said. Like it's Like it's always important to just, because for not only for that person is it important, but it's also important for you because that's your step of faith. That's your faith that you were supposed to walk in, right? It's like no relying on your own understanding. There's plenty of times in my life where I've done things where I'm like, this is insanely illogical, doesn't make any sense, but I'm going to do it anyway. Everyone that I told about it was like, yeah, why would you do that? Doesn't make any sense. Like you're abandoning all this good stuff for what? For a roll of the dice? That doesn't make any sense. Like, well, I was told to do it, so I'm going to do it. You know, I always think of like the walls of Jericho when they like marched around for 7 days. I think, you know, we brought it up before. It's just like, okay, so we're going to march around this place for 7 days. And then what? Just all of a sudden we're going to win somehow. Like it's like one of those things like, yeah, don't rely on your own understanding. Just obey. You did it. And then as soon as you blow those trumpets, hey, the walls fell down. Look at that. Just all you have to do is obey. That's all you got to do sometimes.
It's sometimes just that simple.
All right, so my next one is talking about Elisha, not to be confused with Elijah.
Okay.
And this is in 2 Kings 2. And sometimes I wish I kind of had this kind of power here, but let me just read it. Then he went up there to Bethel, and as he was going up the road, some youths came from the city and mocked him, and said to him, "Go up, you bald head. Go up, you bald head." Now the NIV one says, like, "Get out, baldy." So it's even more like an obscene gesture, like, "Get out of here, baldy." So he turned around and looked at them and pronounced a curse on them in the name of the Lord. And then 2 female bears came out of the woods and mauled 42 youths.
2 female bears specifically. They were not male bears. They were female bears.
Female bears.
And somehow, some reason that was important. Although I guess sometimes there's gender in languages. I don't know if Hebrew is like that, but I know like in French, there's male and female words, if that makes sense. Like I'm gonna get it wrong, but like la table, like the table is la. It's a female form of the word, so it's a female word. So it's never lay table, which is le, which is the male form. Maybe it's something like that. I don't know.
It could be.
I could just be completely wrong.
But
Just
knowing the
interesting.
Bible, it's probably kind of there's some kind of
There's
like
some reasoning
symbolism
behind that.
behind it being 2 female bears. I wouldn't doubt it, but
Maybe it's like because the mama didn't raise you right, so now the mama bear.
Maybe.
I don't know.
It just called to me because, you know, like I'm follically challenged on top of my head. As, you know, like all of us kind of are, like more on top than on the bottom. But yeah, and then also being a teacher, like kids going like, "Hey, you bald, Mr. Smith? Hey, you bald?" "Yeah, I'm bald." "Why? 'Cause you're old?" I'm like, "Sure." Or genetics. I
You
don't
should say
know.
it's like because I get the gene from my maternal grandmother.
Well, I just want to call on 2 bears now. Like,
You call on the Thunder Bear.
call on the Thunder Bear. Yeah. Thunder Bear.
Well, my second middle name is Thunder Bear.
Oh, okay. Well, all right then.
So there's a Blade fun fact.
All right. Nice.
Well, I think I got one more here.
I could follow it, right?
That was kind of a crappy situation with the Bears. So,
Oh, what? Do we have a pun? That's
so one time, God asked to use poop as fuel to create to make food.
okay.
So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Also, yeah.
And also gross. So Ezekiel 4, verse 12 through 15, "And you shall eat it as barley cakes and bake it using fuel of human waste in their sight." Right? So in the sight, right? And it will, have the waste. Then the Lord said, "So shall the children of Israel eat their defiled bread among the Gentiles where I will drive them." So I said, "Ah, Lord God, indeed, I have never defiled myself from my youth till now. I have never eaten what died of itself or was torn by beasts, nor has abominable flesh ever come into my mouth? Then he said to me, see, I am giving you cow dung instead of human waste, and you shall prepare your bread over it. So then he was like, wait, Lord. I know you want us to use the human, but I never did anything. So can I use something else? So the guy was like, yeah, you can use cow dung, but they have to use human poop for the bread. It was just so funny how it was just like, wait, Lord, hold on 1 second, I'll do it, but hear me out.
So you just have to listen.
Yeah, you just gotta, and sometimes, you just gotta give, just say, hey, what about this though? And then just listen, just hopefully,
So speaking of poop,
Oh my god!
my next one. So going
I
back,
had no idea we were just going to be talking about poop in this.
yeah, we didn't
episode.
tell each other what we were talking about.
I'm shocked. And
So,
appalled.
bald, yeah.
balding.
Yeah.
I said appalled.
Oh, I thought you called me bald.
Well,
Where are my 2 pairs?
so going back to Deuteronomy, which is just great to go through. You gotta read it. There's some great stuff in there. But this is another one. This is one that I used to like open with, like when I would do youth group, and it was probably why I never got asked to speak again. Because you start a sermon, you start talking about like, all right, I want everyone to please turn to Deuteronomy 23:12, and then people start doing, and then you pop it up there on the visual thing, and people are expecting some grandeur thing, and I start with, designate a place outside the camp where you can go to relieve yourself. As part of your equipment, have something to dig with, and when you relieve yourself, dig a hole and cover up your excrement. And so this is another one of those things where I think, maybe they're just camping, people lazy, and just dropped trowel and went wherever.
Leaving it.
Yeah, and so like you're in the middle of camp and you're waking up in the morning like, man, I just stepped in.
Yeah.
So like they had to kind of establish it's a common sense rule, right?
Yeah, it's like
when
a common courtesy.
Like
come on.
when you go camping, you bring a spade, tools like a spade to go out. You find a spot, you dig a hole, you cover it up. You don't just do it and leave it for someone to discover later, with whatever you're using. But
Well, now it's in the Bible.
yeah, and it was in the Bible so when people are using it as a camping room, it'll be like,
Well,
hey.
yeah, not now, but yeah.
Yeah. But like when people go camping and they go like, oh, here, like, oh man, you gotta 1 it or 2 it. I'm like, I gotta go to it. And they're like, all right, here, take the shovel. Like, oh, okay. And so when they're explaining this to you, they're basically explaining another rule in the Bible, from the Bible, in practical use. And like, if you've ever been camping, like I have to like pre-dig, because when you gotta go, and you don't want to spend time like trying to dig a hole.
Oh
when
yeah, who wants to try to? Yeah,
you're sitting there going like, I gotta go, and I gotta. Oh man, yep, all right, but yeah. So
See, that's why if I go camping, I want to have
you want
a bathroom.
You want to glamp? He
Yeah.
goes glamping.
yeah. Ain't no way
Yeah.
I'm going camping.
Not now. Back then maybe.
No,
But-
it's
That's one of the things. Like I hate using a restroom, even public ones. Like if I don't have to, I just don't.
You just prefer holes in the ground? Is that what
No,
you're saying?
I prefer my house.
Oh,
I just
it's like I don't want to. I want
I-
to dig a hole.
no. I have a hard enough time like going in public, just because
Yeah.
just cleanliness and everything else, and just the solitude of your own home. But
No,
yeah,
I-
but going camping, even just finding I'll preemptively hike an area, and go well, that's a good tree to sit on, a fallen down branch, or
Your
I'm gonna
little stakeout.
I stake out. I'm like, that's my area, and obviously you want to be you don't want to go in the middle of the night and realize that you just went 10 feet from another camp, someone's right there. So that's why it says designate a place outside of camp, because then God's going to make you use it to cook things, right?
yeah, that's true.
It's true.
I'm getting a little bit off topic, but you know how it's sometimes it's very looked upon in society that people. It's it's kind of like the guy's throne is the toilet, right? That's your
Well, people say that, but yeah, I don't.
anyway. But do you think it was the same back then too, where it's just man, Johnny's been gone for a long time? It's But he's just out there just
Sitting on the pot.
sitting next to his, this little
Is he
stub or something.
Was he holding like a scroll in Torah and reading that? Like,
I don't know.
mean, he's not reading the lines of a rock. Like, I mean, he doesn't have a shampoo bottle to look
Maybe he
at.
has like a an acorn and a stick, and he's just sitting there just like poking and just, I don't know what they're doing, but you know what I mean. I just wonder if it started back then too. Is it just a now thing?
It's possible.
It's possible, right? Just
I mean, as men, they're probably done in an actual few minutes and not
Right.
like 20, 30 minutes or whatever.
but they're done. But then they just sit there like, I'm just gonna.
Yeah.
I just need to just sit
it's
here.
possible.
Yeah.
So, I might have told this story before, but I'm gonna say it again. I was watching. Okay, wait. Let me back it up. As a kid,
Yeah.
I noticed that it never said that Jesus pooped. So I asked my dad, I was like, did Jesus ever poop? Because I figured like if
Did you read the book Everybody Poops?
if he's
'Cause
divine.
I'm sure Jesus is in
Well,
there.
it's just I was wondering. I thought it was like a legitimate question. Like would God allow him to do that? So like I was genuinely curious as a kid. It was child curiosity,
An innocent
right?
question. Yeah.
And it was like my dad explained. I was like, of course Jesus pooped, but they're not going to sit there and write. And then Jesus stopped to go poop on the side of the road or something.
And Jesus pooped.
So something I found really interesting about The Chosen is one of the Romans wanted to keep track of Jesus, and he's yelling. He's like, I want to know if he does this or stops to use the bathroom or whatever. And I was like, they're talking about Jesus pooping, and it brought me back to that as a child, because they do things like in between the verses and stuff. So like see, it's such a realistic depiction that they talked about pooping. There you go. That's my poop.
It's kind of
contribution there.
like saying Jesus was a carpenter, but they never really like actually talk about him doing any carpentry.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I understand now, but just as a kid,
Do you?
I do.
Okay.
Any else have one more before we wrap this up?
No.
That was all I kind of had.
Well, what's some fun verses, some fun Bible facts, or not necessarily Bible related.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be.
Things,
It doesn't have to be
conspiracies.
funny. Just like something interesting that like you wouldn't
Interesting.
necessarily think you would find in the Bible, but they're like, look at that.
Or things about the Bible that people don't know about.
Know about?
That's not the Father's Day episode, is it? I'm just kidding. I'll dead
Hmm.
jokes.
I forgot where it was on my clothes now. Oh yeah. Just let us know in the comments down below, especially on the YouTube version of this episode, which I believe is always linked, even if you're not listening on YouTube. At least there's a line for it. I could be wrong. It's there for a reason. Pretty sure you can find it, but you can find it all on wewhoendure.com. There's links to all of the podcast platforms, YouTube, our social media, which of course don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, and you'll find a link to our Fourth Wall shop there too. If you're interested in supporting the podcast, I would greatly appreciate it.
I just like hitting the subscribe button on YouTube because then it like gives me a notification that a new We Who Endure episode popped up, because maybe there's a week here or there where we don't have an episode, and it just kind of like alerts me like, hey, new episode.
Yeah, don't forget to turn on the alerts, because also on YouTube you're not just going to get the new episode alerts, you're going to get
Like little
all of our
shorts.
reels.
Yep.
All of our reels. Sometimes they're Bible verses, sometimes they're clips, and who knows what else we might do.
Yeah.
Ooh,
and you could
teaser.
even probably watch them while you're pooping.
You could probably watch this episode while you're pooping.
And that would probably be the most meta way to listen to this episode. But we appreciate you all taking the time to listen. We love you. Be safe, and God bless.